Hello everyone, my name is XONS133 and welcome to a new video on our channel. We'll be continuing the F1 2017 Ziggo Pro League series on our channel as we are exiting the pit lane here around Singapore. Currently in P4 behind our teammate with 2 minutes left on the clock. So we'll get one more run in here in qualifying. On the left hand side of your screen are the championship standings. All from the wall, ever since he joined this league, has won basically every single round. So he's doing quite well, but today we'll be looking again at extending the gap to our main championship rival Jesse Post in P3. So that's really it. Now, interestingly enough, this will be the last race on F1 2017. From next race onwards, we'll be driving on F1 2018. And I was looking quite forward to that switch, to be honest. I think most people, they get tired of a game after a little while. I wouldn't necessarily say that I got tired of this game, but I am looking forward to trying something new. And hopefully the F1 2018 game will be a little bit more suitable for me, let's put it that way. Because this game is not necessarily the most realistic game ever. Of course, F1 2018 will not be the most realistic game ever. That's simply something you cannot expect from Codemasters. But from news that I've been hearing here and there, I have heard that the F1 2018 game does make a little bit more sense in terms of realism compared to F1 2017. So again, looking forward to that, but that is all for the next video, the next race. We'll be doing one more race on F1 2017 around this Singapore circuit. Pretty tricky Singapore circuit, as Alex from the wall has set a 136.3, which is absolutely a massive lap from him. Kaz here has retired from the session but was standing there in the middle of the road for some reason. We'll be starting our lap with 10 seconds left on the clock, so timing this quite well. The air is wide open then for the start-finish straight, and we'll be entering the first couple of corner combinations. Brake just off the 100 meter board down to 4th gear. Can go to 3 if you want, but I chose 4th gear for better stability. Good exit out of turn 3, and then this corner here, very important, 4th gear. And the exit important as ever because of the straight that follows up. The air is wide open then, of course, for the run to the next corner. Again, brake after the 100 meter board. There it is. Down to 3rd gear to get the nose to turn in. Then up to 4th again on the exit. Already roughly 2 tenths up on our time, so that's good. Middle sector then. A little bit sloppy there on the exit because I touched the inside curb that unsettled the car. A little bit sloppy again through the exit. Right there you saw the oversteering moment there happening. Then take as much grip on the inside there, and again, this is such an important part of the track. Right on the power, it's really like a roller coaster. A little bit of oversteer there, so not good really so far. Definitely a little bit sloppy through that middle sector. Once again, hard on the power here for short straight, and we've lost quite a bit of time actually through the middle sector, so that's not good at all. Like I said, the middle sector was a little bit sloppy, bit of oversteer on the exit coming over that bridge. Final sector to go then. Again, use the curbs quite nicely here. 136.1 on the board and from Matus. Underneath the grandstand. Still 3rd gear. Up to 4th gear for a brief moment. Down to 3rd gear again. Again, ride the curbs. You really want to ride the curbs well here. That's important. But they cannot settle the car just like you saw there. 2 more corners to go. Then turn it in. Could have taken a lot more curb on the inside as well. So all in all, a relatively sloppy lap. And it puts us up in 4th place till in the end. 136.1, we're 7 tenths down on Alex from the wall, which is a massive gap, of course. So as always, Alex in a league of his own, and most likely the best result that we can get out of this race is 2nd. That's really, you need to be realistic, and again, I somewhat hope, of course, that's going to change for F1 2018, but you never know. We'll see how that all pans out. We still have got a race here on our hands on F1 2017. 5 red lights, and they are out now, and we're on the way for one more time on F1 2017. Relatively alright start, maintaining our position here, coming into the first couple of corners. 2 cars up ahead are battling. That's obviously our teammate and Floris Weyers. Alex van der Wal in the meantime already pulling away a little bit while these 2 are battling. But while these 2 are battling, we need to try to find a little bit of space. Not a lot of space being given there by Floris Weyers, who probably didn't even see us being alongside him, but that's alright. We need to find the room here in order to make an overtake work. We need to make sure that we pick the right line here while those 2 guys are battling. So I'm looking here, looking for the right line to pick and perhaps make up a position. Again, they're side by side, so this is a massive battle here. Here we go. This is exactly what I meant, around the outside of our teammate. Can we do it? The answer to that seems to be yes. Yes, indeed it is. So very opportunistic driving there in the first lap of the race. Really had to do that. The cars in front of us were battling side by side for a fair couple of turns. And we had to pick the right line there, you know, to at least pass one of them. And that's exactly what happened. So right now in third place and behind Flores Vice, Anders van der Wal in the meantime has already pulled away. One thing that is interesting to note as well, I said in the beginning of the video as well, our main championship rival is Gemsel. He qualified, I believe, in 12th position, so he is quite a way down on the field. If we, can finish on the podium and Gemsel has, perhaps got a bit of a rough race, then we can make up quite a few points on him in the championship, and that of course would be nice. So first up of the race here, trying to apply quite a bit of pressure on Flores Vice, which seems to be working quite well on the gearbox of him, but obviously DRS has not been enabled yet. So we really want to be focusing again on second place in this race, as that always seems to be the maximum when Albert van der Wal is driving, at least on this game so far. Completing the first lap then, coming into the second lap of the race, also pay attention to the fuel. We are currently -3 laps of fuel. This track is really, it's a long race and the track is quite fuel consumption, it's quite high in terms of fuel consumption, let's put it that way. So we really need to be saving fuel at some point during this race, and maybe this is actually a good moment in the race to save a bit of fuel while we are behind Flores Vice. But I want to make sure that I'm behind Flores Vice when the DRS gets activated, and then when we have DRS perhaps start to save the fuel. So for now we are sticking behind Flores Vice, and we'll see what happens in this race. I do believe that a little bit of rain is predicted as well towards the end, so that is going to be a little bit tricky. Always tricky to have a street circuit like this, a track like this with rain, especially the transition from dry to wet can be quite tricky, because you're still on the slicks and the drops of rain start to fall, and you really need to be aware that you don't outbrake yourself. For example, this turn over here is very easy to outbrake yourself and end up in the wall there when the conditions are challenging and changing. So you saw there taking quite a bit of curb, a little bit too much curb in fact, because we got a warning for track limits. But it really is the way to go here, I feel, around this final sector of Singapore. The curbs are quite high, but if you can ride them well with the right, and if you approach them with the right angle, you can really take a nice sweeping smooth line through the corners. It can really gain you quite a bit of time, especially on exit. So DRS now then enabled, lap 3 of the race. Still behind Flores Vice. Good news is that we are within a second, so we will have DRS, and we'll see whether we can keep applying the pressure on him. One thing that I do need to realize as well, the practice, or the amount of time I practiced for this race, was extremely limited. Therefore, if we could get on the podium already, it would be quite an, I wouldn't say quite an achievement, but it would be quite nice already. And the reason I'm saying this is, as our teammate has just retired from the session, you can see it behind us. I was a little bit flabbergasted at the time that he was retired. You can see I'm missing this corner completely, because with my head I was thinking, what the F has happened there with our teammate. He retired from the session. He was within a second of us as well, so he was looking to apply a bit of pressure on us most likely. And all of a sudden, lap 3 of the race, he has retired. Now I can tell you with benefit of hindsight, he has told me after the race, his wheel actually disconnected. And the people who have been following this series from the start onwards know that the very beginning of the season, in the first round of the season to be a bit more precise, we had the exact same thing in qualifying, where our wheel completely disconnected. Luckily that happened in qualifying, and that meant we still could race in the race, as Gemsel is also retired now. So we've got two quite competitive drivers who have been retired from the race already, and it's only lap 3 starting up lap 4 quite soon here. But again, Racecraft his wheel disconnected, and therefore he retired, slammed into the wall, and that was his race. So man, that puts a little bit of pressure off our shoulders. We don't have to look behind anymore, we can only focus on the car ahead. But again, what I was going to try to explain is that this track punishes you quite severely if you start overdriving the car. you know, I mean, with punishment, I mean it can punish you in the sense that you lose time because you have some oversteer or whatever. But besides that, the walls are also extremely close. And if you overdrive the car, if you push, you know, over the limit more than you can basically handle as a driver, this track really punishes you. So with the position we are in, and knowing that our teammate has retired and our main championship rival has retired, I wasn't going to, you know, lay it all down on the line. I was willing to hold back a little bit, you know, let Flores maybe go ahead and pull away and secure this third place, because this race is the longest race of the season. It's perhaps one of the toughest races of the season as well. With the walls being this close, a mistake again can be punished easily. So if we need to you know, maybe lay 5% left on the table and not push 100% in order to avoid, I don't know, contact with the wall or stupid mistakes, then I'm fine with that, especially considering the conditions that we are seeing here, with our teammate being retired and with our main championship rival being retired as well. So skipping quite a way forward then, lap 15 of this race. We're still going, but at the same time Flores has indeed pulled away, and the gap is actually quite massive, 9 seconds already. So you know what, that was really it for me. I wanted to secure this third place, and that was really it. Mistake here coming into the third turn. That can happen, having a gap of 9 seconds to the car behind as well, but he has just gone into the pit lane that was overdiking. So we're still in P3, and most likely we'll be responding this lap to overdiking, who pitted the lap before. And as you can see, we have done quite a bit of fuel saving already as well. 1.5 laps of fuel in the minus, in the red, but that's alright. We still got plenty of laps left in order to bring that back up, and that will definitely happen if we keep saving fuel like we are doing now. So again, I'm saving fuel, basically consolidating this third place that we have got over here until the end of the race. And then we can bring home quite a few points as well. To be fair, I was already quite happy being in third place here. Conditions were maybe a bit lucky with the retirement of our teammate as well, because I do believe that our teammate again had seriously good pace and could have finished above us. So, you know, bad luck for him, but those things sometimes do happen. Okay, let's see what we are doing here. End of lap 16. I expect to react to the pit stop from overdiking, who went in behind, and indeed we do react to that, respond to that. Coming to the pit lane then, lap 16 of the race. Make sure that you hit your marks here. 60 kilometers an hour in the pit lane. No problems there whatsoever though. We'll be coming into the pit lane to change tires to the super soft tires, the super soft compounds underneath our car, and off we go again. So far, you know, not really an interesting race. I mean, it really seems like we want to be consolidating this third place, bring it home, and then we can get another 15 points in the back for us, which is good. So there we go. We're joining back in P5. There are still 2 cars in front of us who are yet to stop, so effectively we are in P3. Lap 17 of the race then, and underway again. So like I said then, not really the most eventful race so far. We're pretty much driving in nobody's land with the P3. Out from the wall, and Flores wires may be able to attack each other again, or Flores may be able to attack Allard from the wall again in the race, but I expect Allard to be controlling that gap, as he has always done really over the course of this season. And that brings me actually to the next topic. I mean, there's not really a lot to talk about here, you know, from a racing perspective, because again we're driving in nobody's land. But you know, maybe we can talk a little bit then about the next race, which will be Sochi. There it is, Sochi. So Russia will be the first Grand Prix of the F1 2018 game on this of this competition, of this series. And again, I'm looking quite forward to it. I have not participated in any kind of beta, so it will really be the first experience for me with F1 2018. Now I know from Flores, and I believe from Allard as well, from Allard as well. They have been testing F1 2018 already, so maybe we are a little bit on the back foot, but that's alright really. What you often see with these new Codemasters games is that there's a lot of interest in the game once it's released. People are quite willing to play the game. They are quite willing to pump in quite a few hours in terms of practice time. And I hope that it's the same for me. If the game is good, if I start to like the game, then I do believe that I can pick up motivation again. With this game, there's not really a lot of motivation to practice a lot, because I don't know, the driving does not necessarily attract me. So with F1 2018, of course we'll see it all for the next Grand Prix, of course, but maybe that is something that, you know, there comes a little bit of a drive again, in the sense that you start to become motivated to practice. You like the handling model, it suits you. Maybe there's a whole new aspect into the game where, you know, the tire management is a big thing, because I've heard stories about that the tire management is quite a big thing in that game. And you know, the people who know me inside out, they know that I'm quite a bit of a simulator guy, of a sim guy. And in a simulator, aspects like tire management is quite an important role. And with this game, I feel like you want to create a setup. This is quite a massive thing. You want to create a setup on this game, which is basically like Mario Kart. Through some corners, you are just drifting. If people are familiar with this game, they know that 11 ballast on the setup is pretty much the fastest way if you can handle that. And at the same time, 11 ballast is the most unstable thing you can ever have in a car. And from my experience from the sim games, instability causes quite a bit of wear. Instability causes, because of that, also a lot of inconsistency. And in the end, it doesn't result in any pace. But for some reason in this game, that's not the case. So I hope with the tire management aspect in 2018, F1 2018, that is all gone, as we have closed up onto the back of Flying Dutch Roger and Menno, who is ahead of Flying Dutch Roger. Flying Dutch Roger having a bit of a poor exit there out of the previous corner, and therefore we are able to breeze by using the DRS. Finally a bit of overtaking action. By the way, the people who have paid attention also note that Flores is up ahead, and the gap, which was 9 seconds before, is definitely not 9 seconds anymore. So that gap is roughly 3-4 seconds, I would say. I don't know, maybe Flores made a mistake coming into the pit lane, we're not sure. But maybe we can, you know, I wanted to say maybe we can again put a bit of pressure on Flores, but I did feel like over the course of this race that the pace was quite simply not there. So, you know, we can try it, but I don't expect anything massive or anything major. But again, coming to the setup part, I'm struggling to understand the setups that we've got here. And if you remember the video at Hungary, as we skip a long way ahead, lap 42 of the race, nothing has happened in the meantime. Again, we're just driving on our own here, so I'll keep talking about other things, such as the setups on F1 2018. I just can't get a grip on it. I don't understand how they work. I don't understand how 11 ballast can be this quick. For example, the Grand Prix that was driven at Hungary. It really felt like the rear end of the car was sliding into every corner, and it was like, how does it make sense? You know, how can this be the fastest way around the track? But it was the fastest way around the track somehow. And from news that I've heard from other people, that will not be the case anymore. You know, in F1 2018, at least not that massive. It won't be that big of a deal anymore in F1 2018, because it's a little bit more about, you know, keeping the tires in good shape. And in my opinion, in order to keep the tires in good shape, you need to create a stable setup. If the rear is sliding all over the place, if you drive 11 ballast in F1 2018, maybe, or perhaps, I don't know the answer to that yet, maybe you'll slide so much over the course of one lap, it's maybe fast, but in lap 6 of the race, you'll be dead, you know, in terms of tire wear. And in my opinion, that's exactly the way it should be. And that is something that I'm missing a little bit in these kind of games. So I hope that gets implemented in F1 2018, and if it's well implemented, then, you know, maybe the motivation is again back there, and we can, you know, feel the drive again, and practice and hopefully get good results. Lap 42 of the race then, opening up lap 33 or 43, excuse me. As you can see, the rain is falling down quite a bit now, so the track conditions are changing. And in lap 44, you can see here 15 seconds to floaters up ahead and 40 seconds to P4. So it's a little bit like in real life you are seeing with Mercedes and Ferrari being at the top, and then it's quite a bit of a gap to the rest of the teams. It's exactly the case here as well. We're seeing RS locked down in front, who actually spun. I thought he was on the intermediate tire, if I'm not mistaken. So perhaps that shows that the intermediate tire is not the right call as of yet. I'm basically waiting for the sign to appear which says DRS disabled, because that's usually a good indication that it is wet enough for the intermediates to be put on underneath the car. So we're waiting for that, and in the meantime you really want to be staying out of the walls. That's really it. And if we can do that again, we'll carry on a third place, and that's the most important thing that we can do here. Now, one thing that's quite interesting as well with F1 2018, if it is really, again, like I said, if it's really that nice to drive and the handling is good and it suits you as a driver, there's automatically more motivation to practice, and because of that, quite often the results are better. But I'm breaking ourselves here. Need to miss the wall, which we do. I actually put it in reverse just to be sure. Scraping along the wall there. We can afford this, alright. It's alright. 40 seconds to the car behind. A bit of a dumb mistake, of course. Looked a little bit silly, but just forget it. Whatever, just keep driving and bring home third place. That's really all we can do. What I want to say though, again, if you keep practicing on F1 2018, it suits you as a driver. You start practicing, you start getting results. And of course, nowadays the F1 esports, as we see there, DRS disabled. So it is time to put the intermediates underneath the car. What I was going to say though, with the esports being a big thing now as well in F1 2000 or the F1 titles in general. Alert from the Wall, for example, is part of the Sauber F1 team in terms of esports. Floris Wires also was in London somewhere this year in order to qualify himself for the esports series. That didn't happen for him, but I definitely know that Allard is an esports driver for the Sauber team. Who knows if F1 2018 is nice, and if F1 2018, if you can get good at it, then who knows, we might see ourselves in the esports there as well, maybe sometime. You never know how things like that go. And the thing is, with F1 2017, I wasn't there like right from the start. I wasn't there right after the game release to practice. Basically, I got the invitation from Ziggo, who organizes this league, to drive on this game before the first round of this season, as we skipped to lap 54 and it's raining quite hard. Before the end of the season, so for the first race, I should say, of this season, I had not driven this game in over 2 months. So all of a sudden you had to pick it back up again. But again, the game was not exactly how I liked it, or I didn't really like the game. So automatically you don't practice a lot, and you never really are good enough really to win races unless the guy who usually wins the races is not there. Which is exactly what happened at Silverstone, which is exactly what happened at Monza in Italy. I mean, at Silverstone we could have won. In the end we didn't win that because of a time penalty. Monza we did win, but look at both races. In both races, Alert from the Wall was not there. And with F1 2018, if you are there right from the start, and you practice, you put a bit of time in, maybe the results come, and always I think one of the biggest motivations you can have to practice is results. If you have good results, then you want to keep that flow going, and you want to put in a bit of time. And people who have followed me over the last couple of years know that I can be quite a competitive person. But people also will know that I have lost quite a bit of my competitiveness over the course of the last few years. In 2016 I stopped driving in FSR, and the competitiveness basically dropped away. And I'm alright with finishing in P3, consistently in this league. And if in 2016 I was finishing in P3 the whole time, trust me, I would be practicing the whole week in order to make sure that for the next race that wouldn't happen anymore, and we would be on the top step of the podium. So, you know, that has disappeared, and hopefully, you know, it can come back again for 2018. Who knows? And again, the esports is quite a big thing there. So, if the game is good, I'll say it one more time. You know, who knows what can happen? We might try to get into the esports. I would love to hear your comments on that as well, your views on that. I've been talking about that for a long part of this race here, but you know, there is not a lot of action out on track. We've made the successful switch from the slick tires to the intermediate tires. It was quite rainy. I think at one point in this race we had heavy rain, but it was good enough really to stay out on the intermediate tires. So we're on the last lap of the race, over a minute ahead of P4 behind, and we are quite a long way behind. Floaters behind us as well. In fact, it's 25 seconds. Interestingly enough, with the rain here falling down, I think the gap to floaters pretty much stayed the same. In fact, I think we lost a little bit of time, but not really all that much. But it doesn't matter anyway. We're here to bring home P3, and I'm more than happy with that. I'm also happy that this is the last race on this game. I'm looking forward to driving on F1 2018 and see how it goes there. And I really hope that from Sochi onwards we can really have some good races, and who knows, maybe Oliver from the Wall can be challenged now. That would be amazing, because this guy, ever since he has entered, I've said many times before, has won every single round, and he will do that today as well. There we go. Oliver from the Wall, another victory in his pocket, as we can hear the fireworks going off. For us, it's the last lap of the race, perhaps a little bit lucky in the sense that our teammate retired. I do believe that he could have put a lot of pressure on our shoulders. Nonetheless, we'll be taking home P3, and you know, I don't really feel any kind of emotion with this position. It's like, yeah, whatever. We're done with this, done with this game. Let's go on to the next chapter. Let's go to F1 2019, see how it goes there. You know, finally we are done with this, because, you know, to be fair, after a while, yeah, it's fun having the races itself are usually quite fun because you can battle with people, but the practicing and all of that, oh man, the practicing is really not a lot of fun in my opinion. And there we are. In the end, finishing the race. Flores had quite a few penalties, but in the end it didn't really matter. So P3 in the end. I haven't got a lot to add there, other than this was quite a boring race, to be honest. It's a bit of a long race, of course. It was the longest race of the season, in fact. So it was quite a long, you know, journey. But in the end, we brought it home in P3, and we are doing good business as always. Well, not as always, but as usual, really, in the championship, because over the course of the last couple of rounds, we have been working quite steadily on extending the gap to Gemsel, and therefore we are able to, you know, confirm our position a bit better in second place of the championship. So yeah, again, nothing to add. From next race onwards, we will be seeing F1 2018. Definitely looking forward to that. Thanks all for watching again. If you have enjoyed this video, I would sincerely appreciate a like. I'm sorry about the boredom of this video. I mean, there's not much that I could do. But next race, I can trust you already from F1 2018 onwards. This is a little bit of a spoiler, but keep following this series because it's gonna get a bit more exciting. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Thanks again for watching. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.